What is going on, peasants? My name is JB and I'm here today with, I guess, a list video. I don't really do these things, but I wanted to go ahead and make something to celebrate the Crown Tundra coming out. So with that coming out at some point today as I'm recording this, I know that caused a bit of a ruckus on Twitter. No one really knows the exact time when this thing is dropping, but at some point today, hopefully, the Crown Tundra will be released, and soon thereafter, many a draft league are going to be, well, drafting. And I want to go ahead and talk about a few underrated or lower tier, I guess mid-tier Pokemon that I think are going to be great value picks, and I think a lot of people are overlooking because rightfully so, everyone is hyping up the return of, stuff like the genies, the legendary birds, the dogs, the pseudos, the Lottie twins, like rightfully so. But everyone knows those Pokemon are great. I want to talk about a few Pokemon that I think are going to be really good that not everyone's talking about. So let's go ahead and hop into it. I have a few examples and these are in no particular order. So let's go ahead and hop on over to Showdown. All right, so we're back over here on Showdown. And again, these are in no particular order. And before we hop into this list, there are a few honorable mentions I want to get out of the way. Crobat and the Nidos specifically are some Pokemon I want to talk about that didn't quite make the cut, because again, those are the type of Pokemon that everyone knows is going to be good. They're not going to be, your tier 1 threats, probably not even tier 2 in the case of those Pokemon, but everyone knows that in whatever tier they're in, they're going to put in a lot of work and going to be great Pokemon. I got some nice buffs as well. But let's go ahead and talk about the Pokemon that did make my cut. And the first one we're going to talk about is Swampert. Swampert got a lot of great buffs, and it was already one of my favorite, mid-tier picks in Gen 7. But with the access to the moves you see here, Bulk Up, Liquidation, Body Press, Darkest Lariat, as well as like high horsepower, if you're in grassy terrain, well, if you're in grassy terrain, I suggest running and probably not even bringing Swampert to that matchup. But Sombra got some great buffs, as well as just already being a great, defensive wall, defensive, pivot, and just being a fantastic stealth rock setter as well. I feel like Swampert, you're probably going to find it in tier 3, maybe. If it's in tier 4, take that shit round 2. But yeah, Swampert's going to be a great value pick in tier 3. Just a really solid Pokemon and great all around, good bulk, good attacking stats, can also now be a setup threat. And yeah, just going to be a fantastic all around Pokemon. All right, so next up we have Blaziken, and we're talking specifically about Blaziken. Of course, Smogon is going to be allowing Speed Boost Blaziken in OU, so if your league is allowing Speed Boost Blaziken in tier 1, it's going to be obviously fantastic. But we're talking about specifically Blaziken, which in Gen 7 was primarily a tier 4 Pokemon, sometimes tier 3. But the knock on Blaziken, I'm just going to say Blaziken from now on because I don't want to keep repeating it. But anyway, the knock on it back in Gen 7 was that its only reliable fighting stab was high jump kick, which of course misses, or you could just run protect. It was easily predictable. But now it has access to close combat, which just completely takes away the need to ever run high jump kick. Close combat is probably the best, in my opinion, the best spammable fighting type attack in the entire game. Very spammable. This thing has already great mixed attacking stats with both physical and special, so having access to stuff like Scorching Sands and Aura Sphere as well, and its Arsenal just makes it that much more of a threat. Solid base speed tier at 70, and then good enough bulk that should be able to live any one hit usually, unless it's stab super effective type thing. Then you probably don't want to be staying in on those hits. But good news is have U-turn, so you can pivot out of those hits, and just makes Blaziken that much more of a very, very solid pick. I think I've seen a lot of leagues putting it in tier 3. I'm talking specifically like Wi-Fi leagues. I don't know about Showdown leagues, but I know a lot of the leagues that I've been seeing have been putting this thing in tier 3. I think it's potentially a tier 2 Pokemon. I think it's really solid with these new additions to its move pool. Great attacking stats, good mixed Pokemon, great new additions, and definitely worth a later round pick or a mid round pick for sure. Next up, we have Agron. Now, Agron, again, we're talking about lower end, underrated Pokemon. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I have a bit of a thing when it comes to Steel types in Gen 8. I think they're pretty much all bad. So getting a really solid lower tier Steel type, if you're not able to get your hands on a Corviknight or an Excadrill or something like that, or a Jirachi or one of the high end Steel types, is really nice, or even a Metagross now. But Agron, again, being a really, really solid low tier Steel type, is really nice. A great addition to the draft pool with new additions like Rock Blast, Body Press, Steel Roll, high horsepower, also being another fantastic stealth rocker. Great physical stats in both attack and defense. I think Agron is going to be a very, very solid low tier Steel if you are not able to get your hands on one of the higher tier ones. So definitely be on the lookout to pick up Agron. If it's in tier 5 for whatever reason, it's going to be insane value. I think it's a really solid tier 4. But if you for some reason see Agron in tier 5, snag that up immediately. I think it's a great Pokemon. All right, the next Pokemon we're going to talk about is Diancie. Now, Diancie is another Pokemon that was just really solid last generation, but it got a lot of new toys, and like all of them are solid. It got so many cool new moves, even more than that are on this particular one set. It has stuff like Mystical Fire, Baton Pass, Sword Power, Play Rough. Not to mention, it also has access to Body Press now, as well as Encore and Meteor Beam. Just a ton of just great, very usable moves that this thing got added to its arsenal. To go with its already really solid stats, base 100 in both attacks, base 150 in both defenses. It's pretty slow and pretty frail with base 50s in HP and speed, but it's going to be a really solid mid-tier fairy, potentially tier 3, probably tier 4 though in some leagues. If you're able to snag into tier 4, I think it's great value. If it's in tier 3, I think it's, if you get sniped of a different fairy that you want, or if you're looking for a fairy type that can set stealth rocks, or just it's not a bad Pokemon in and of itself. That's like you're playing fairy, of course. It does have that ×4 weaknesses still, so that's something you need to be a little bit careful of, but it got so many new toys. Mystical Fire being able to, not let still types come in for free on you now is just really nice, as well as, I believe it has access to Earth Power as well, so has a couple things going for it in that regard. Sword Power is really fun just because this thing's fat. You can run some janky like weakness policy, Iron Defense, or not Iron Defense, yeah, Iron Defense. I know what I'm talking about occasionally. So if you can get some crazy stuff like that to work with, like weakness policy, Iron Defense, Rock Polish, Stored Power, if you can get something like that to work, I think that could be really funny. But just a lot of really solid new moves to added to it, and it's just a great support fairy with Stealth Rock and stuff like that. So definitely a Pokemon that if you're looking for a lower tier fairy, not a whole lot better you can do than Diancie. And the last Pokemon we're going to be talking about here today is Archaeops, and the main reason we are talking about Archaeops is, of course, heavy duty boots. So previously this thing's ability to Fetus was a pretty big hindrance, allowing it to only be able to switch into Stealth Rocks twice before it's pretty much useless, because it's not really the type of Pokemon that you're going to be able to get a roost off with and get back above that half HP. But with boots now being a thing, you don't have to worry about Stealth Rock. You can switch this thing in more often, and there's not a lot better low tier wall breakers than Archaeops, especially with boots now. Again, you're probably going to be item locked a lot, but if you take it knowing that you can draft around it and have good hazard control, or if your opponent just doesn't have a great rock setter one week, you can just let Archaeops go crazy without boots potentially. But having boots in this thing is just going to be a little bit ridiculous. It didn't get a lot of new moves, but dual wing beat and rock blast are some nice stab options. Meteor beam could be fun if you want to be a little bit weird, like run like I guess like power or meteor beam, but like acrobatics could be cool. Because it does have good mixed stats. Like 140 attack is phenomenal, 112 special attack is very, very usable, and it has like a pretty decent mixed move pool as well, stuff like Earth Power, Dragon Pulse, Heat Wave. So it can do some stuff and some things. But if you see this thing sitting in tier 4 and you're in need of some wall breaking power, why not give Archaeops a shot, man? Everyone knows you're going to be running boots on it, but hey, it's still going to hit really hard, and they're going to have to figure out something to switch into Pokemon with some crazy attack stats. So definitely recommend checking out Archaeops if you're looking for some low tier wall breaking for sure. But that's gonna do for me, guys. So let me know what Pokemon you think are gonna be some really underrated threats in the comments down below, and I'll be sure to we can have some fun little discussion on Draft League in Crown Tundra. It's gonna be a fun time. I got a lot of stuff coming up, a lot of Crown Tundra content coming out your ways pretty soon. Showdown lives are gonna be a thing. I got a lot of teams built, so whenever Showdown goes live with the new releases, so definitely expect to see some lives coming soon. New Pokemon, all that sort of stuff. It's going to be a crazy few weeks on the channel, so definitely make sure you're subscribed, hit the bell, do all that sort of YouTuber nonsense, and that's going to do it for me, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.